Hey guys, it's me, Miss Mills, and welcome to Miss Mills' Math Time. The whole point of this video is to help you out with solving systems by elimination worksheet. So I'm going to do some examples on this worksheet to help you out, and then y'all should be good to go. So I've changed up my setup on my worksheets now. Instead of giving y'all like that Google slide with just like 10 problems on it, I decided to give y'all less problems on this. I gave you 8 total, and I set it up to where you have access to a Desmos calculator. On the first slide, here's the directions. To get access to the Desmos calculator, all you have to do is just click on the picture itself and it'll take you right to it. Remember, this is the calculator that you'll be using on K-Prep, so I would recommend going ahead and starting to get used to the calculator so it'll become easier for you in the long run. So there's access to that. After that, on page 2, my video is going to be right here. Again, this is not a required watch. It's not notes, so you only have to watch this video if you need help with this assignment and want to see some examples. And I also put the steps to solving this from the notes so you don't have to go back and forth. It's all right here. So let's go ahead and go over these notes real quick. First things first is you need to line the equations up, okay? Just like when you are adding or subtracting numbers with decimals in them, you have to go ahead and line the equations up before you can do so you don't mess up or get it wrong. After that, you're going to identify a variable that has the same coefficients. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at both variables. You're going to look at your y variable and your x variable on both of them. And you're going to figure out which one of those have the same number in front of the letter. And I'll show you exactly what I mean in just a second. After that, you're going to subtract the equations to eliminate a variable. All right. I'm going to show you how I like to do it too so you don't mess up on subtracting the whole thing down. And then after that, you're going to solve the equation for the remaining variable. And then after that, the last step is to go ahead and substitute. Once you've solved for that variable, substitute that variable into one of the equations to go ahead and solve for the other. And you should be good to go. Remember, your answer should be an ordered pair. That means you need an x value and you need a y value. So if you get 2 x's or 2 y's, you probably need to take a step back and try to find where you messed up, okay? Because you need an x and a y value, and those are going to be your answers. After that, guys, you can always go and check your work. Once you get your x and y value, substitute those into the equations to make sure you have the correct answer. Just like y'all did with iExcel AA1, where they gave you a ordered pair. You substituted it into both equations so you could go ahead and figure out if it worked or not. You can do that here too, okay? So always check your work. That way you don't get anything wrong. Or if you get something wrong, you can always be like, oh man, I need to fix that before I turn it in. I don't know. Anyway, so the first example I'm going to do is I'm going to do number 2 right here, and then I'll do this one. I'll do number 2 and I'll do number 7. That sounds good to me. All right. If you have any questions about any of the rest of these problems, let me know later on. All right, let's start with this first one. We have 7x minus 4y is equal to negative 11. And then we have 7x minus 10y is equal to positive 25. Alrighty, okie dokie, artichoke. All right, so here's what I got going on. All right, so the first thing I did before I did anything else was I lined them up together, okay? I lined up my x's, I lined up my y's, my operators are right next to each other. I lined it up perfectly, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract down. So I'm going to put the bottom equation in parentheses, and I'm going to say we're going to subtract, okay? So what we're going to do here is, since we're subtracting down, remember, whenever you have a negative in front of parentheses, there's going to be a negative 1. So what you can do is you can take this negative 1 and you're going to multiply it by every single thing inside the parentheses on the bottom, okay? So let's move it over here real quick. I'm going to move this over. 7x minus 4y is equal to negative 11. All right. So negative 1 times 7 is going to give me negative 7x. All right. Negative 1 times negative 10y. A negative times a negative is going to give me a positive 10y. Okay. And again, I'm lining them up. And then negative 1 times positive 25 is going to give me a negative 25. And now I'm going to go ahead and subtract down. All right. All right. So the reason So the whole part of elimination is we're going to eliminate a variable. The variable we're going to eliminate in this problem is going to be the x, because both x's on both equations have the same coefficient in front of them. They're both 7. So this is going to be the variable I'm going to eliminate. All right. So what we have here is a positive 7 minus 7. They're opposites, so they're going to cancel out. I have eliminated x. So now I can solve for y. Right. What I have right here is I have negative 4 plus 10. I just spit everywhere. That was so gross. All right, so negative 4 plus 10. That is going to give me a positive 6y left over. All righty. And then what I have here is negative 11 minus 25. Guys, this is going to be negative 36. But if you're not 100% sure, remember, I have a calculator here for you. You can always use it. Click on the picture. It'll take you here. And I just wanted to remind you, negatives in this calculator is going to be your minus sign. So you would put negative 11 minus 25 and see if it would give you that answer. So just putting that out there. Get used to this calculator. I think that'll help you out. But anyway. All right, so negative 11 minus 25 gave me negative 36. All right, and now I have a one-step equation to solve for y. So I want to get y by itself right here. This right here says 6 is getting multiplied by y, so I need to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. All right, and if I do it on one side of the balance beam, I have to do it on the other side as well. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. All right. So these cancel out, they're opposites, leaving me with just y, all right? And then negative 36 divided by 6 is going to give me negative 6 left over. So my y value in my ordered pair is equal, why did I do that? Is equal to 6, okay? So now I need to just find my x value. Remember, your x value always goes first, and your y value always goes second in that ordered pair. So to figure out what my x value is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute this negative 6 into one of these original equations to go ahead and solve, in for x to go ahead and solve for, I'm going to substitute my negative 6, which is y, into one of these two original equations for y to solve for x. It doesn't matter which one I substituted in, you're going to get the right answer either way. So I'm going to substitute it into this first one just because I personally think it'll probably be easier. So I have 7x minus 4, my y value is negative 6, so I'm going to substitute that in, and that is equal to negative 11. All right, let's go ahead and go. So 7x, negative 4 times negative 6 is going to give me 4, 8, 12, 6, 20, 24, a positive 24. All right, negative times negative gave me a positive 24. Make sure you get that. And then I'm going to bring down this negative 11. All right. Once I have that, now I have a two-step equation where I can solve for x. When I have a two-step equation, I need to get rid of my constant first. My constant here is a positive 24. So I have to do the opposite of a positive 24, which is a negative 24. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side as well. All right, let's go. So these are going to cancel out. They're opposites, but I can bring down the 7x now. Okay. And then negative 11 minus 24 is going to give me negative 35. All right. Once I have that, now my last step is to get x by itself. So I need to divide both sides by 7 in order to do that. Right. These cancel out, they're opposites. Negative 35 divided by 7 is going to give me a negative 5 left over. So x is equal to negative 5. If you're not 100% sure that is the correct answer, again, what you can do is you can substitute these into both equations to make sure that they work out, all right? So I'm going to do that real quick. It won't take very long. Substituting this into here, first I have 7, my x value is negative 5, minus 4, my y value is negative 6. I need to make sure that is equal to negative 11. All right, so 7 times negative 5 gave me a negative 35. Negative 4 times negative 6 is going to give me a positive 24. Negative 35 plus 24 is equal to negative 11. So that works out. We're good so far. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the second equation just because I want to make sure that I have the correct answer. So I have 7, my x value is negative 5, minus 10, my y value is negative 6. I need to make sure that is equal to a positive 25, okay? Because that's what this equation right here says. So 7 times negative 5 again is negative 35. Negative 10 times negative 6 is going to give me a positive 60. And that should be equal to 25. Negative 35 plus 60 is equal to 25. That is correct. That means 25 is equal to 25. Therefore, both equations are correct. I have the correct answer. My x value is -5. My y value is -6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my work page. And I'm going to say right here, guys, my answer, my ordered pair. My x value is -5. My y value is -6. Okay. So I know that this is a pretty long process, but again, this is why we're practicing it. Once you get used to it, it'll become so much easier. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to number 7. This is going to be my last problem I'm going to do on here. So I'm going to write it out real quick. We have y is equal to 3x plus 13. And then y is equal to 7x plus 17. All right. So I'm going to look at this problem real quick. First things first, we're solving this by elimination. So what that means is I need to eliminate a variable. And I'm going to eliminate the variable based off of which one of these have the same coefficient. Over here, these two y's, they both have a coefficient of 1. So that is going to be the one I'm getting rid of because they both have the same number in front of them, okay? So y is going to be the variable I eliminate first. So that means I'm going to solve for x. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to take this bottom equation and I'm going to subtract it. So I'm going to put the whole thing in parentheses and I'm going to put a minus sign in front of it. So once I do that, again, what I like to do is I'm going to take this -1 up in the front. That's a -1, and I'm going to write it out so you will see it better. I'm going to take this -1 up front and I'm going to distribute it. So I'm going to multiply it by everything inside of these parentheses so I can subtract everything down correctly. So I'm going to move this over. Then I'm going to say -1 times 1 is going to give me -1y. -1 times -1 times positive 7 is going to give me a -7x. And then -1 times -1 times positive 17 is going to give me a -17. So now I've rewritten it, so I'm going to subtract everything down. First, I'm going to focus on this positive y minus 1. 1 minus 1, those are opposites. Those are going to cancel out. It's going to be equal to 0, okay? Now I have 3 minus 7. 3 minus 7 is going to leave me with a -4x left over, okay? And then 13 minus 17, again, is going to leave me with a -4 left over, okay? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to move this over to this side of the equal sign just so I can go ahead and solve for x. So what I'm going to do, if I want to move this over here, I need the opposite of a -4. Opposite of a -4 is a +4. I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, so 0 plus 4x is going to give me 4x. These cancel out. I'll bring down this -4. So now I can solve for x by solving a one-step equation. To get x by itself, I need to do the opposite of 4 is multiplied by x, so I have to divide. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side as well. These are going to cancel out. They're opposites, and then -4 divided by 4, that is going to give me -1. So x so far is going to be equal to -1. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do, after I've subtracted down and then I solved for my variable, I'm going to substitute this variable, this number right here, this -1, into one of these two original equations to solve for the other one, okay? So just like in substitution, I can substitute this variable into here to go ahead and solve for the other variable. It doesn't matter which one I choose. Since I chose the first equation last time, I'm going to choose the second one this time, just to show that it doesn't matter, you're going to get the correct answer regardless. So I'm going to bring this down. I have 1y is equal to, I'm going to bring it down, 7x. My x value is -1, so I'm going to substitute that in for x plus 17. All right. So 1y is equal to 7 times -1 is going to give me -7 plus 17. All right. So -7 plus 17 is going to leave me with a positive 10 left over, okay? So what this basically says is I owe you $7 and then I give you $17. How much do I owe you now? And it's going to be, I have a surplus of $10 left over that you now owe me. So negative 7 plus 17 is positive 10 left over. And now I'm going to bring down this 1y, divide both sides by 1. Y is equal to 10. All right. Or if you know that 1y is already equal to y, you can go ahead and just say, hey, y is equal to 10. So now I have my ordered pair. To check to make sure that both equations, this ordered pair works for both equations, what I can do is I can substitute both of these into both equations to make sure it works out. I'm going to go ahead and do that because, might as well for this video. But I got to add another sheet. So I'm going to do the first one first, the first equation. So here's my ordered pair. And the first equation is 1y is equal to 3x plus 13. All right, awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute these values into here to make sure it works out, okay? So we have 1y, y is again 10, is equal to 3. My x value is negative 1 plus 13, all right? So 1 times 10 is 10. 3 times negative 1 is going to give me negative 3, and then bring down this plus 13. 10 is equal to negative 3 plus 13 is going to leave me with a positive 10 left over, so it works. The first equation works, all right? So far, so good. Now let me write down the other equation real quick. We had, 1y is equal to 7x plus 17. All right, cool. Same thing. 1, y value is 10, so I'll substitute that in. It's equal to 7. My x value is negative 1, so I'm going to plug that in as well, plus 17. 1 times 10 is 10. 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. Bring down that plus 17. 10 is equal to negative 7 plus 17. It's going to leave me with a positive 10 left over. So it works out, guys. That's how you can check your answer to make sure the ordered pair that you get is the correct answer. So what we have here is my x value is negative 1, and my y value is 10. All right, guys. So again, I know that this is a pretty lengthy process. That's why I only gave you that's why I pretty much gave you only 6 problems to do. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.